You ever hear someone use AI, machine learning, and LLM all in the same breath like they're the exact same thing? Look, it happens all the time. But in the tech world of 2026, knowing the difference isn't just trivia, it's absolutely crucial. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to cut through all that noise and give you a super clear way to think about these incredible technologies. Okay, so let's start with a really simple idea that's going to guide us through this whole thing. Just think of all these different AI technologies like they're medical specialists, right? Each one has a very specific job, and the whole secret is just picking the right one to get the job done. And here's how we're going to do it. First, we'll talk about this whole specialist problem. Then we'll zoom out to the big picture, the AI umbrella. After that, we'll look under the hood at the learning engine, that's ML and DL. Then we'll get to the really exciting part, the LLM reasoning revolution. We'll even check out the 2026 spec sheet. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by figuring out how to choose your expert. All right, first up, the biggest category of them all, artificial intelligence. You got to remember, this isn't just one tool. It's the entire field. It's the grand dream that started it all, the whole idea of building machines that can actually think. So under this giant AI umbrella, you find pretty much everything, from the simple, old-school rule-based systems to the crazy autonomous bots we have today. In fact, in 2026, we've even got a name for this era, super agency. It just means AI systems that can work on their own to get really complex stuff done. So, bottom line, if a machine is making a decision that you'd think needs a human brain, yep, that's AI. So if AI is the whole playing field, then machine learning is the powerful engine that's driving all the modern progress. And trust me, this is where things start to get really, really interesting. This slide just nails the fundamental shift, doesn't it? We used to have to sit there and painstakingly program every single little rule. If this happens, then do that. Now, the machine learning way is totally different. We just say, hey, here are millions of examples of what a good outcome looks like. You go figure out the patterns. It's a complete game changer. And check this out, because this shows how the learning process itself is evolving. We used to depend on humans to sit there and guide the AI to correct it. But the massive shift in 2026 is RLAIF, where we're now using other powerful AI models to train the new ones. It's this AI teaching AI loop that's making development happen at a mind-bending speed. Now, okay, if machine learning is the engine, what's deep learning? Well, think of it as a specialized turbocharger for that engine. It's a part of ML that uses these super complex structures called deep neural networks. And yeah, they're actually modeled after the connections in our own brains to handle really tough stuff like understanding images or creating realistic voices. By 2026, the smartest systems are using what's called a mixture of experts. Instead of one giant brain trying to do everything at once, the system is way more clever. When your prompt comes in, it's like a smart receptionist routes it to the right specialist, say the coding expert, and only those neurons fire up. It's just faster, way more efficient, and a whole lot more accurate. And that brings us to the star of the show, the most specialized expert in our clinic, the large language model, or LLM. But here's the thing. Even the definition of an LLM has changed. We've moved way beyond just predicting words. We are in the middle of a full-blown reasoning revolution. I mean, until pretty recently, LLMs were basically autocomplete on steroids, right? They were just really, really good at predicting the next word. But in 2026, we're in a completely new phase. These are thinking models. They don't just guess anymore. They actually reason and check their own work before they give you an answer. And the magic behind this huge leap is a technique called test-time compute. Models like OpenAI's O1 don't just blurt out the first thing that comes to mind. Instead, they create this internal tree of possibilities. They check for logic, they check for accuracy, and they only give you the answer that makes it through that tough internal review. For complex things like coding or strategy, this is a massive breakthrough. Okay, so now that we've met the specialists, let's take a look at their resumes. If you want to be fluent in the language of AI in 2026, there are 3 key numbers, 3 specs you absolutely have to know. First up is parameters. The easiest way to think of these is as the model's brain cells. Now, back in 2023, 175 billion was considered absolutely massive. By 2026, with models like Llama 4 Behemoth and GPT 5.2 Pro, we're talking about models with multi-trillion parameters. The scale is just hard to even wrap your head around, and it allows for so much more depth and understanding. Okay, but this next number, This might be the single most important one for you day to day. 10 million. That's the new standard for the context window. And the context window is basically the AI's short-term memory. It's how much information it can keep in mind during one single chat. So what does 10 million tokens actually mean? In the real world, it means the AI can read your company's entire code base. It can digest a dozen thick books. It can even process hours of raw video, all in one go. This enables something called in-context learning, where the AI can learn your specific business style just by reading your documents. It's incredible. And finally, the third thing to know is that the market in 2026 has really split into two tiers, two different lanes. You have your instant or flash models. These are built for pure speed. Think real-time translation. And then you have the thinking or pro models. Yeah, they might take 10 or 30 seconds to give you an answer, but for the heavy-duty tasks like legal analysis or complex strategy, their accuracy is on a whole other level. So let's bring it all home. We've met the specialists, we've read their spec sheets. Now for the big question, how do we decide who to hire for the job? So let's just recap that hierarchy one last time so it really sticks. It all starts with the big field of AI. Within that, you've got the machine learning approach of learning from data. That's often powered by a deep learning architecture, which then lets you build a specific application, like a large language model designed to reason. And look, if you remember just one thing from all this, let it be this. The goal is not to just use the biggest, baddest pro model for every little thing. That's like calling in a brain surgeon for a headache. The goal is to be smart about it, to choose the right expert for the right task. So I'll leave you with this question. We've laid out the whole hierarchy, from the general field of AI all the way down to these specific reasoning models of 2026. You've met all the specialists. So the only question left is, for your next big project, who are you going to hire?